Once you structure your company correctly, capital starts moving differently almost immediately. Now, this is for founders with Singapore or Dubai holding companies because right now your structure may already be outdated. PhonePe paid nearly $1 billion. Grow paid $160 million in taxes. Now, this was not to expand or to acquire new businesses, but to move their legal headquarters back from Singapore to India. And this is what is being called the Great Indian Reverse Flip. Now, think about that for a second. These are not small companies, and their founders definitely don't make decisions based on whim or a fancy, right? These are run by some of the sharpest founders in the country, and these decisions are not made casually. They do it when something fundamental is shifting, and staying where they are, that starts to become expensive than the move. So if your holding company sits offshore, these moves of these giant fintech companies is no longer just headlines for you, it's a signal. And let me be very clear, this is not investment or tax advice that I'm going to be talking to you about. I just want to share a strategic perspective based on what I'm seeing across founders. Most founders I speak to already have top tier lawyers, bankers, and big four advisors. So the issue isn't access to professional advice, it's that none of them are solving the same outcome for you. Your legal team is focusing on optimizing for compliance. Your tax advisor optimizes for tax structures and efficiency. And your investors, of course, they're always looking for optimizing their returns. But no one is looking at your structure as a whole across capital, control, taxation, and most importantly for you, your personal wealth. So, what you end up with is a structure that worked at one point in time but hasn't been reevaluated as the world order is changing around us. So, let me make this more relevant and real for you. You raised capital through an offshore entity because your investors just preferred that. Your operations are in India and your investors are global. So that made sense because for a long time, if you wanted global capital, you needed a familiar jurisdiction that your investor was comfortable with. But over time, that trade off for moving abroad, that trade off started to show up. You're managing cross border compliance, transfer pricing between entities, multiple advisory teams across jurisdictions. And when you want to move capital or build personal liquidity, it's not always straightforward. So you built a global business, but your financial architecture still carries friction. And let's break this down further. Why are companies like Grow and PhonePe actually made this move? And most importantly, let's break down why are they doing it? Where are they going? Are they going to Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai? No. They're not just coming back to India, but they're moving into a very special, specific financial zone. It's called Gift City. India created a dedicated international financial service zone, like a special SEZ. It's only operational IFSC and it sits in Gujarat right now. But from a regulatory perspective, it operates as a distinct financial jurisdiction for permitted activities with its own unified regulator. So, what does that actually change for you? What it changes for you is that your entire structure can be reevaluated. And instead of navigating multiple regulators, looking at your interface between authorities, the IFSCA can be your single mode of context. Now, this is not just theoretical. Global banks like JP Morgan, Citi, Barclays, they're already operating in Gift City. And Indian majors like Infosys and Wipro have built up their own hubs as well. So there's a growing ecosystem of fund managers, fintech companies, and institutional capital. This is where this becomes, relevant because when institutional capital moves, founders follow the trends. Now, here's something where this becomes more relevant for you, not just at the company level, but also at your personal wealth level. And we are starting to see a shift in how founders think about their own capital. especially founders who have already gone through a secondary or a partial liquidity event, or you are holding significant paper wealth in your company. Because at this stage the question changes. It's no longer just how do I build my company. You've already done that and proven that. It becomes how do I structure my capital outside of my company. Structures like family investment funds are now being explored within this ecosystem. These are regulated structures, typically requiring a significant corpus where capital can be pooled and deployed globally. I'm talking about international equities, private markets, cross border opportunities that were earlier harder to access efficiently. Now, let's also just break down what is the greater flexibility that you're getting through Gift City for global investing, because that changes the equation. Earlier, if you wanted this level of flexibility, you had to go offshore. There's no secret in that. And what is happening now is that that assumption is being questioned. Now, adoption into Gift City right now is still in early stages. It's not a mass movement, but founders who are thinking seriously about liquidity, diversification, and capital beyond their company are beginning to explore these structures. Now, your company should not be your only asset in your personal balance sheet. So, the question no longer is should I go offshore? But the more important question for you is my current wealth structure still the most efficient one available? Because frankly, what worked 10 years ago was correct for that time. But structures are not permanent, they need to be reevaluated. And this is where most founders fall behind. Because not because, of course, not because that they lack the intelligence, they certainly have the intelligence, but because they don't revisit decisions that were once taken. And if you already have advisors in place, that's a good thing. This is not about replacing any of your advisors, but it's about stepping back and looking at how everything is being put together. So, what I've done is a simple Indian tech founders wealth playbook. It breaks down how Gift City actually works for you, specifically for your personal wealth structures, and where structures like these may fit in your personal scheme of things. So, I want to talk to you about how founders are starting to rethink about their own personal wealth architecture. So, this is not a recommendation, it's a structured way to help you ask better questions and make sharper decisions with your advisors. And if this is relevant to you, you can access it through the link below. Because the smartest investors don't just grow income, they structure and protect generational wealth. Hi, I'm Sonia Sharma, an ex Big Four CA, and I'm a family wealth strategist. And if this made sense to you, just understand that this is not about recommending you any kind of specific investments, but about building clarity in a changing world order.